Hey everybody, it's Ryan from Pi Records, and I'm here with the Del Novas in their little tiki hut. How are you guys?
Hey, great, Ryan. How are you doing?
Awesome. I am um the first thing I noticed when you turned the camera on was that beautiful guitar. Um do you use that one on the recordings?
On the latest recording, it will be on there. The previous two, no, because I just got this recently, so I'm
Okay.
learning the ins and outs of this thing.
Uh One song I have to mention is Cambria, which uh it was the first thing you guys sent me after I contacted you, and I was blown away. It had minor chords in just the right spots, and it was really it was the kind of song that had every element that I liked about music. So tell me about what went into writing that song.
Oh, thanks, Ryan, for the kind words. Yeah, well, I'm going to come out with some full disclosure here. It's there's certain songs that you hear in life, and they kind of seep into your DNA, and you can't help that. And when people hear this, like, oh no, I hear it now, and I don't know if they want to plug their ears or not. But it's one of the fun songs I like as a kid, and still do as a human being, adult, is Sister Golden Hair. And so it has kind of that Sister Golden Hair when you'll hear it later. Maybe not. I hope I disguised it well enough. I think what was it? Albert Einstein says, "Learn how to disguise your influences," or something like that. And don't tell them to people on the internet, which I just kind of did everything. But it's kind of like that, and there's like kind of that Beach Boys vibe. I don't know if it's in my room. There's someone on the internet will go, no, it's the other Beach Boys song. Sorry.
Well, that guitar sounds great. What amp are you playing it through right now?
I'm actually playing it through a Mesa Boogie Subway Blues. I'm gonna get it in the shot here, and it's just a 110 combo, but it's such uh, a fun amp.
Ah, nice.
You got to do, well, and I also have the reverb tank up there
Oh,
underneath.
okay.
That's the one. I'll send you some videos where it still survives my kick. And there's one of the last shows we did. We were on stage, and I kicked the tank, and it was holding the sign, and the sign went over with it, and it looked pretty rock and roll. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm awesome. And suddenly, like, oh, please don't break the tank or the sign, because my buddy made the sign, and he also made the signpost, and he's kind of like that mechanic who's like, "What'd you do on the racetrack? I'm sorry, I busted the car. Can you fix it?" But yeah, so Cambria is just a song that you just kind of piece together. Like, I'll start off with the melody, and for me, the melody is the whole thing. Even though I talked about the chords, I kind of stole the chords from other songs. But the melody, it's like if a melody's done right, it has a groove and it has a harmony, and you
Yeah.
never have to worry about the other two. And then it just comes down to arrangement. Because sometimes I'll be with the drummer and he'll start a groove and I'll start kind of locking in with the groove, but no melody comes to me, and I'm like, God, I wasted a good groove to him. And so that video you saw I put up on the Del Nova's Facebook page, it was just something. I'm like, here, I'm going to try something. And I try to always write a melody first, and then I'll go back later and, like, okay, well, this chord fits over that. You can figure out the harmonization and stuff. And so it's just kind of like, so it's kind of like Curtis Mayfield. And then suddenly my classical training will come in. There's always a high open E. Always happens. And when you listen to a lot of my recordings, there's always a pull off to an open E. and there's an open D. So I always try to make those open strings ring against the fretted notes. And it's kind of like when you stare off into the ocean, you know, all the waves don't move together. They all kind of do this. And so you try to have like notes play off like each other in a fun way. And if you do it subtly, no one hears the open notes. And, you know, it's kind of fun. And it's kind of surfy because it's very guitaristic and very surf guitaristic.
Nice. Do you the both of you, are you the primary songwriters?
Really, Dal's the guy that writes all the songs. He usually he'll kind of have the song all the way kind of hammered out. He'll send me the main chords and then the parts he wants me to play as far as the harmonies go, and then we put it all together.
Kev is magic because if you don't have that right hand man, even though he's on the left, that part of the stage, my left hand, for him to just have this utter belief in like, yeah, I'll play what you got. And so I'll give him the harmony, and the harmony is always below the melody. I only very rarely do I do that harmonize above the melody, and I don't mind it in rock and roll. It's always, you know, there's one harmony above that. But then if you get too many harmonies above the melody, I hear my jazz teachers like, you're not, you know, that type of band. You want to say country and western. You didn't see that from my lips, but he didn't like it. He called it hillbilly harmony. He was like, don't hillbilly harmony. But it's cool in rock and roll. You can do one. Yeah, it's fine. But too many, you just kind of lose sight of the harmony, especially with guitars, because at least with a singer, you're like, oh, I follow, you know, this character in this movie, and then anyone around them is just kind of added to it. And so I always try to put the harmony below. And so I send Kev these videos. I might send it to you. And it always starts off, Dusty Shepherdson, if you choose to accept this mission. And I always say that the video is going to blow up, but, you know, he probably saved it and YouTube hasn't blown it up yet. But he's just, I'm so grateful that he'll go, yeah, I'll do it. And then he'll hear the demo and goes, oh, I see where I'm at. And then you pull back the harmony, like, not to get away from Cambria, but if we do, you want to do Sunrise real quick?
Yeah, sure.
He's got a prettier guitar.
Oh, no, it's just different.
Oh.
See? I didn't get that reaction. Thanks, Ryan. That didn't hurt my feelings at all.
No, well, that was the first thing I mentioned was your guitar.
It looks like better than to look my ugly face. So this one's not on the recording we sent you, but the beginning harmony is very Thin Lizzy, just thirds and fourths, and they kind of move in a parallel motion. And then there's a point where Bach comes in, and it's contrary motion, like my melody's going up, but the harmony that he plays is going down. And I'll just play what I play, and then so there's the melody, and it's very, you know, Thin Lizzy, great group, one of my favorites. And then so we'll just kick in with Kevin, and we'll play the whole thing. And at the second, there's a point where we both play unison, and that's kind of the key, because after the unison part, his harmony goes down, and you're like, oh, it's very subtle. It's not too classical, but we kind of threw that in there.
Wow.
So, you know, we just try to, like, in the universe, we all want to be different, right, Ryan? No one wants to be that guy. So you got your flavor and you want to, like, throw it in. And so when it comes to a solo, I don't write Kevin's solo, because I cannot. When you hear him from the live video, it's like, oh, what is that guy doing with that guy? You should not be hanging out with that guy. He's just an amazing soloist. He's like, what do you want here? I'm like, I just want Kevin. And the same thing, like, what the drummer will ask me, Tim, he's like, what do you want here? And I said, I just want to hear what 13-year-old Tim wants to hear, because we're still playing rock and roll. And
Yeah.
surf music is like the last bastion of rock and roll to me, because not that I'm apolitical, but there's no politics in it because it's just instrumental surf, and it's middle class white teenage boy music. And I grew up in Santa Cruz, and I went to a white middle class high school. That's why I sound white, even though I look very Filipino, just like my folks. And so it's funny growing up in the surf town that everyone would learn how to play surf and like, well, we're gonna go do something else. Like it was always kind of like, at least how I grew up, it wasn't like the thing to do. And then later you come back, you're like, that was fun music. It brought back these memories of, having fun with your buddies in a garage. And that's how I always think of surf and rock and roll. And it never becomes a thing, because I've been in other bands where they talked about, either politics, or they talked about this and that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's always a place for that. And there should be, but there should also be a place for just, unabashed fun.
I agree. I was going to ask you what makes the Kevin and Dell combination so special, but just you playing that really shows me the dynamic, like you really working together. It seems effortless to me. And you guys just make it look so easy, but it sounds so beautiful. Was that a new part?
It's a new song that we have been recording, and hopefully the next record will feature that song. And the record that we sent you, Kevin just joined the band, so there wasn't a lot of guitar harmony. There was guitar harmonies, but not to the extent like once you find your guy, you're like, oh my gosh, it's like that thing in life when you find. Help me out. What's a baseball hat?
A lid.
No, man. What's the team? Is that the Texas Tech or?
Oh no, Temple University.
Oh, okay. So help me out. Educate me. What is Temple? Is it a baseball team?
It's a university where my daughter's going to be going for the School of Public Health. She's going to be a physical trainer.
Oh, awesome! So
yeah.
Cool. Congratulations to her. I hope she does well.
Yeah, she goes Tuesday.
Oh yeah. My wife's a 5th grade teacher, so
Yeah,
good bad. So, but yeah, so it's kind of like working together with Kevin. It's like I was hoping you would say it's my favorite baseball team, but it's kind of like when we played baseball as kids, or you still watch it today. It's like being the shortstop and the second baseman, and if there's a runner on first, someone has to cover second. You always see like the guys with the baseball glove. The shortstop will look at the close who's going to cover second base. You just have that relationship, and I have that with Kevin. It's just like I know what he's going to do, and if his string breaks, I'm like, okay, I will take a longer solo. Or as per usual, my gear breaks down from a bad patch cable. He's like, I'll take care of it. We just have this innate thing of just working together. And we also play in a jazz duo thing. So you're always listening, playing that improvised style of music. And if something happens, you're ready to, help the other guy out. We're always just, there, working together.
And we've been playing together since 2000 when Don was just.
Oh wow!
So I mean, once you've played with another guy for that long, you just know each other. It's like where's he going to go next? What's he going to do next? And if something happens, the other guy knows what to fill in or do or whatever. It's just you just
become second nature.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I don't finish the sentences. Not an old married couple. But so, the fun thing is, I'm sorry, Ryan, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go right ahead.
Is when we'll send you like some live footage where we extend some solos and stuff, and you can hear just even the guitar tones. Like I'm using a bright, Firebird pickup, and it's back there. It's really bright, and he has his Anderson Stratocaster where he'll use tones that is different from mine, but melding together. It's just kind of like Because imagine if you had another Ryan hang out in your life, you're like, either you love him or you hate him. But if you have someone who's different, you're like, oh, this guy gets me, but you know, he knows.
Yeah.
Me.
So teasing what you were teasing today and going back through our emails, you were mentioning that you're working on new material. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, so now that, like, when I say Kevin's a full-time guy, he's been a full-time guy for a long time, but that record that we sent you, Surf Odyssey, it took a long time to complete that album. It started with different guys and it ended up with different guys. Guys moved away and life happens, you know. But once you have, like, you know, a Kevin here, then I can start thinking, I can relax and be myself and not have to be, you know, a trio. And so suddenly when I start thinking of composition, I'll have a jazz background, I'll have a classical background, and I'll do a thing where I like contrary motion, kind of like what we're doing that last harmony, but I'll even do it just like in the melody. So it's kind of got a bouncy groove to it, and you know, like I said, I'll try to write the melody first, and it's in C sharp minor, and the first note on the downbeat of one, do 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 do. I can't sing. So on the downbeat, subconsciously, it gets stuck in your brain. It's kind of like things that you do in life. You just don't notice it. You're like, oh yeah, I was teaching my daughter this because I learned it, and this is an efficient way to do it. You know, being like teaching her or whatever. And so, like, my brain was like, sorry, it's boring everyone to death. They're like, wow, you can play these notes. So if he just went C sharp, just a note, and then you just play the bass note, and then B, and then A, and then F sharp. 1, 2, 3, do, 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 so it's like, oh yeah, I just hear him going down while my melody's going up. And it's just like a weird thought process to me. I always write in contrary motion, and I never thought about that. And it's just one of those things you just kind of like realize about yourself, good and bad, right? Sometimes my wife is like, you always repeat yourself. So like, we'll just play this song, if you don't mind, Ryan. And
not at all.
Take it from the top.
Okay.
Dude,
So-
that was fucking good.
Thanks, man. So there's another instance of Kevin's like, yeah, I'll do your harmony.
Just give me a chart and we work it out.
And he has, because it doesn't always match, and so he has to like just do it. And he's so great at doing it. He's like, okay, you chose those notes and I'll go with it. And another big influence is James Honeyman Scott of the Pretenders.
Oh yeah.
And so like that. It's like it reminds me of the first early Pretenders album. It's a big influence on me, just all that cool stuff. And there's a parallel harmony that we both do, and he plays it an octave higher. And it's one of the few times I'll do parallel harmony because he does the inflection so well. Usually, like I always say, there's contrary motion.
Yeah.
But here's like an example of, so that's like an example of the first part, songwriting wise, it's got a bounce to it, it's got a groove. And so once you got a melody, and then like my brain was like, oh, of course, there we go. And then you figured out the chords that go to it. And so my wife was reading the scanner. She's like, oh, listen to all these weirdos outside. All the crimes happening around in the United States of America. Sorry, kids, it's kind of true, right? And so the song's called Rohnert Park After Dark. That's where we live, and that's actually this spot where we're doing this Zoom meeting. And you can always tell it's Rohnert Park because on the sign, it's 120 miles from Santa Cruz to Rohnert Park, 2,440 miles to Elyria. So the sign actually kind of tells you it's Rohnert Park, but it doesn't say Rohnert Park. So you got kind of that mysterious bounce to it at the beginning, and Kevin's got a cool chorus thing going on, so it kind of adds. And you heard the second time we did that, this business. He's doing something different than me, so it's kind of like we're kind of doing like the Keith Richards, Ron Wood kind of guitar weaving,
Yeah.
It just hangs together and you hear it, but it's just enough difference. It's not the same thing. And then there's a part where one always tries to be somewhere else. We always fantasize about stuff. And so that's where this part comes in. So that's the part I always think of, like Walter Mitty. He wants to be on a tropical island. So that part I try to make it sound like a tropical island. And I'm like, that's Let's Go Tripping, but no one knows that, right? It's like, oh man, I'm happy. I'm out of Rohnert Park. Sorry, Rohnert Park friends, don't hate me. But it is one of those things that everyone goes on vacation, like, I want to go somewhere tropical. So you want to write something tropical there. And so when we recorded that, that's when the acoustic guitars come in, and it's got this new feel instead of, so you want to kind of have that light and dark. And so that's how that song kind of came about, because my wife was just like, there's this weirdo on the path. And I'm like, and then that just kicks in. Your brain just thinks about that. You're walking your dog. You're like, am I going to throw my dog at this person? Am I going to run? Do I sacrifice myself for the dog? And then Rohnert Park After Dark. You can't go, at midnight when it gets bad, or, whatever. And somehow it just turns into a surf song, because then you can always throw in a tropical thing where you want to be somewhere nice and warm and tropical away from, a little escapism.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you so much, guys, for being on. I really enjoy listening to you playing and talking about your theory of how you put music together. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we sign off?
This is my dog, Copper. That's all I got.
Hi, puppy.
Thanks so much for having us, Ryan.
Yeah,
it's an
thanks,
honor
Ryan.
to be
Thanks so much. Oh my God, I had such a great time listening to you. Have a great day, guys.
Yep, you too. Thanks.
Thanks, Ryan.